So student visa option is usually the alternative if the candidates are not qualified for immigrant visa application. Because if they don't qualify for immigrant visa, automatically they qualify for student visa. At the same time, your partner needs to take an English exam. Now, if ever your partner does not want to take an English examination, what do? Replace your partner. Look for a more cooperative partner.
A more useful
Yeah.
partner. Welcome. We at 9.09er help candidates to do well in their English exams, whether it's the IELTS, the OET, the PTE. But it's also important to understand why it's important to do well in these tests in the first place. It's never really to find out, for you to just find out how well you are in the language, but rather it's because you need it in order to get somewhere else. It's all about uprooting your life and supplanting and planting it in another soil. Today we have Sir Ervin Temporal, CEO and President of 9.09er IELTS Review Center, in order for us to learn what are the specific details and requirements of getting ourselves to Canada. Sir Ervin?
Okay, earlier we talked about the United States of America. So this time we're going to focus on Canada, one of the most popular destinations. You're going to ask why. Because if US prioritizes health workers, I'm not saying only health workers can go to America. I'm using the term prioritizes. Canada is open for everyone. Why? It's best to look at the size of Canada vis-a-vis the population. Canada is the second largest country in the world. The biggest is Russia. But how many people are there in Canada? More than 35 million. Well, let's compare that to the Republic of the Philippines. Okay? A relatively diminutive country in the Pacific, only 300,000 square kilometers land area. But how many people are in the Philippines? Roughly 106 to 108 million already. Canada, more than 9 million square kilometers of land, but only 35 to 37 million people. So if you look at this, Canada is more than 31 times bigger than the Philippines, but we are 3 times more populated than Canada. That explains why it's wide open for everyone. So that is an overview of going to Canada. So what are the visas available in going there? If you are a caregiver, you can apply for live-in caregiver program. If you're a skilled worker, there is an employer who will apparently offer employment for you. And then, if you're planning to study, student visa option is also available. So student visa option is usually the alternative if the candidates are not qualified for immigrant visa application. That's why I highly recommend our candidates to go for immigrant visa assessment first. Because if they don't qualify for immigrant visa, automatically they qualify for student visa. Why? There are certain criteria before you can migrate to Canada. So there's what we call points system. So the higher points you get, it also means to say that you are going to get higher immigration points, so more chances for you to be invited by the Canadian government. So what are the criteria for judging? So number 1, there's age. Okay? If you're 21 to 35 years old, apparently you're going to get the highest points for age. But the older you are, the lower points you're going to get for age. Now, criteria number 2, there's educational attainment. So with more degrees, that means to say higher points for education. And then number 3, work experience. They only count the work experience that is related to your profession. So say for instance, you are a registered nurse, but you are working in a call center. So that work experience does not qualify because it doesn't have patient interaction. So it doesn't have to be continuous, but it has to be relevant to your profession. At the same time, it could be combined employment from, let's say, 2 or 3 employers for as long as all of these experiences are related to your profession. And then, number 4, not a requirement, but also source of points. If you have a first-degree relative in Canada who is a permanent resident or a citizen. And then, extra source of points if you have a partner joining you in the visa application. So when we say partner, you don't have to get married, okay? So boyfriend and girlfriend, you may apply together. You can even, well, same-sex relationships are even welcome in Canadian immigrant visa application. So let me clarify, you'll only earn points if your partner goes with you, okay? Part of the application. You cannot claim points if your partner is not coming with you. At the same time, your partner needs to take an English exam. Now, if ever your partner does not want to take an English examination, what do? Replace your partner. Look for a more cooperative partner.
A more useful partner.
Are you one with me in going to Canada?
No.
This is the end of our relationship.
You add no more value to my life.
Well, as they say, sir, what if I'm single? Well, good for you, because in the eyes of God, you're blessed, okay? But it's not healthy if you're going to migrate to Canada on your own. So what are you supposed to do to earn more points? Look for a partner. Okay?
I know.
There are a lot of apps.
Oh, God.
There are dating sites where you can find a partner.
Go
and
ahead.
when you arrive in Canada, you just file for divorce.
Oh my God, it's Ervin. But let's be real, right? You need those points.
So, going back, what are the sources of points?
Age,
Okay? And then educational attainment, work experience. The next one is not required, but you'll earn extra points if you have a first degree relative in Canada who is a permanent resident or citizen. And then the last one, a partner. It could, a partner or spouse, meaning to say you could get married. You could be married or not. If you're not married, you must submit all possible evidences that you are in a relationship. But if you are married, all you have to do is to present your marriage certificate. So, I repeat, there is no guarantee that you will get your immigrant visa to Canada. The higher the immigration points, the more chances that you will be invited. Okay? So, those are the criteria when migrating to Canada. So, if you're planning to go there, make sure that your visa consultant will discuss the points. Primarily, that's the most important. Because if they just tell you, okay, you pay this amount, but we won't discuss the point system, then perhaps it's dubious.
Indeed. It's important to know who to trust. Not only with your money, but also with your future, as well as the future of everybody who depends on you. So, making an informed choice with whom to take confidence in is critical to your journey.
Okay, if I may compare US and Canada, okay, earlier I've mentioned that health workers going to the United States are usually sponsored by their employer. That's why airfare is usually paid for, no show money, and then accommodation is usually sponsored for the first month or first 3 months. But in Canada,
is it like that?
You pay for your airfare. So with more family members joining you in the application, your budget must be higher. Because you have to pay for every family member's airfare. And then you are required proof of funds, show money. Because you don't have guaranteed employment yet. What's the point of show money or proof of funds? That while you are not yet employed, when you arrive in Canada, you have enough funds to sustain for your needs. This is the explanation why. Okay? And what else? The accommodation. Well, you have to look for your accommodation. That's why it's an advantage if you have a friend or a relative there who's going to offer you accommodation for the first few weeks. So, advantages of going to Canada, wide open for all occupations, but the main disadvantage, there is no guarantee that you will get an immigrant visa just because you are able to reach the points. And then, you have to wait for you to be invited. If you don't get that invitation, then you cannot apply for a visa.
Invitation?
Yeah, invitation to apply. That's ITA. That's how it works. So, some people want to go to Canada because, it's like melodious. It's just that, unfortunately, the only guarantee that you can go to Canada is when you apply for student visa. Because it doesn't have age limit. It doesn't have educational requirements. No work experience needed. You don't need a partner. You don't need a relative in Canada. That's why I said earlier, check your options when you go to Canada. If you don't qualify for immigrant visa, that's when you apply for student visa.
I see. In addition to the ways that you mentioned earlier and how to get immigration points: age, work experience, education. Another way is to do well in your English exams.
Exactly.
Could you tell us more about the scores required in English tests like the IELTS?
Okay, so if you're migrating to Canada, general training module for IELTS, or CELPIP, Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program. Those are the two options. And then, if you are planning to study in Canada, IELTS academic module, you can also take PTE or Pearson's Test of English, or you can use TOEFL, depending on the university, depending on the school. So, if it's student visa application, what is the first step? Choose a school. Because the school will tell you what the requirements are. And this is to say that not all schools have exactly the same requirements. Some schools require higher band scores as compared to the others. And then for English proficiency examination, that's what I've said. The higher score you get, more chances of being invited. So if you know that you lack educational attainment or your work experience is rather limited, you don't have a spouse, you don't have a partner, you don't have relatives in Canada, then what are you supposed to do? Get the highest possible grades in the English examination. And in this case, listening 8.5, reading 8, writing 7.5, speaking 8. If you're able to get that, then more chances that you will be invited because you got the highest points for English proficiency.
So what I'm hearing is that you don't need to get a perfect score in the IELTS in order to get the maximum immigration points that you can get for English attainment. Does exhibiting proficiency in French also provide additional points?
Yes, especially if you're going to Quebec. Because primarily, French is the first language of Quebec. Okay? Well, French proficiency will also help you in other provinces. It's just that Quebec is the one that prioritizes candidates with a higher proficiency level in French.
I see. Canada seems like a great place to be in. And the disadvantages, though, of going there, you mentioned you have to pay for airfare.
Yeah.
The show money is considerably higher. And the processing time, how long does it take to get these things?
Speaking of show money, when you're single, roughly 500,000 pesos. So with more family members involved in the application, you need to have 600 to 700,000. But if you're a family of 4, a family of 5, then you need perhaps 900,000 to 1 million. I cannot give you the exact figure for now because of the exchange rate. It fluctuates. And this video is going to be on YouTube forever. So we're accurate as of September 2020. So I'm not mentioning the exact figures because of the fluctuating exchange rates. So what is it that you mentioned earlier? We were asking
the disadvantages of going to Canada.
Yeah, processing time.
Processing time.
That's it. Because the problem is, like USA, you have to be patient. If you're in a hurry in going to Canada, I suggest go for a student visa application. 1 to 3 months, that's it. But if it's immigrant visa application, you have to be patient to a certain extent that sometimes your job profile becomes, your express entry profile becomes obsolete. So you have to make another profile. So speaking of this, I know we have some clients applying for an immigrant visa to Canada. If you have concerns, kindly message 9.09er on Facebook. So I'll give you the new email ad in order for you to reach so that our visa consultants can still continue the process. But this is to mention we're no longer accepting new applicants. We'll just have to finish the processing of our existing clients in migrating to Canada.
I see. Of course, there are a lot more details and specific concerns that are beyond the scope of this video, but hopefully this has provided you with a pretty comprehensive overview, bird's eye view of what it's like to live in Canada and how to get there in the first place. Thank you very much, Sir Ervin. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we end?
Well, that's it for our Canadian visa processing discussion. So we have 2 more videos remaining. One is for UK and Ireland, and the last one is for Australia and New Zealand.
Thank you for your time.
You can also visit our website at www.nineronlinereview.com or email us at training@nineronlinereview.com. And guess who replies to all of these?
Who replies, Sir Ryan?
Us, the lecturers.
Yeah, so we are really hands-on when it comes to taking care of you. Why work with anybody else but you guys?
See you in our future videos.
Thank you for watching.